I'm begging you to make zines. It's 2026 and we are currently actively living through things that will be distorted, erased, and rewritten later. While social media is an incredible tool for us to share our voices, I do not think that it's a reliable archive. All the platforms that we know and love to use, like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, are privately owned, so they could disappear literally like that. And everything that you've uploaded on the internet could disappear and not be saved. That's why I think it's really important for us to share our stories, information, and resources in a way that's documented, printed out, and archived. With state violence escalating, AI scraping every corner of the internet, and algorithms deciding what content to make visible or not, creating something outside of all of that matters now more than ever. And if you're new here and you have no idea what I'm talking about, hi, hello, my name is Bree and I love zines. If you've never heard of a zine, it's basically like a self-published magazine. The main difference though is that zines are primarily focused on self-expression, sharing art, sharing resources, interviews, photographs, pretty much whatever you want in a very DIY, cheap, and accessible way. Magazines are primarily focused on selling you something. A lot of magazines have ad space and there's a lot of editors and you have to get approved and there's a lot of middlemen involved with making a magazine. The process is just different. So if you've ever wondered why it sounds so similar, it's because they are very similar. They're like cousins. But zines can be made right now and be put in the hands of people immediately. And they're allowed to look janky and messy and crooked and misaligned. You could print it all in black and white. There's tons of ways to make zines because it is rooted in accessibility. It doesn't matter your financial background, it doesn't matter your artistic skill. All you have to do is use your imagination and create your zine and make it available now. And today I want to show you some zines that I handpicked myself to be able to show you its cultural impact. I think it's really important for us to document our lives. I'm in America right now, I'm in the United States, so there is a lot going on. So yes, definitely make political zines or zines primarily focused on social change. I think that's super important and a big reason why zines even exist. But you do not have to make zines that are directly political in order for them to be important, okay? I want you to really drill that in your head because a lot of times when I tell people that zines are super important to make, they immediately think that they can't make one because maybe they don't feel strongly about a particular thing going on in the world, or maybe they don't want to make a political zine. I think they're important. That's my standpoint. I think everybody should make zines about what's going on in the world, but you could definitely make zines about your personal lived experiences because to some degree, I do believe that the personal is political. Take me, for example. I am a Black and Polynesian woman living in America. I'm gay, I'm autistic. So anything from my POV, from my point of view, is inherently political because my identity is political. So anything that I make will have that lens, it will have that point of view. So I want you to think of it in that way too. You may not be able to relate to the way that I identify and how I'm perceived in the world, but everybody should be making zines as a way to solidify your experiences, maybe even to validate your lived experiences and to serve as historical artifacts that future generations can look back on and see how we lived, how we really lived, despite whatever media is being force-fed to them. Document yourself, print your experiences onto paper and archive them, sell them, trade them, give them out for free. We should be circulating these types of publications. This stuff, whatever you publish and whatever you decide to print, will be read by future people, and it's important that we have this stuff documented as if in a way to say, I was here, I lived through this. So whatever they're trying to erase or distort or rewrite, I'm living proof that this is how it happened. So yes, it can be super personal. I think that's really important because no matter how personal you make it, someone's going to relate to it. I promise you. You think that you're alone in your experiences or the things that you struggle with. You think that no one will understand, but I promise you, once you put it into print and allow other people to read it and experience it, it's going to touch someone. Even if it's just one person, that one person matters. So definitely share your experiences, share whatever's on your brain, definitely share about what's going on in the world, document that shit, put it down on paper that this is what's happening so people in the future know what's up. This is how we leave notes to each other about what we did and how we overcame and how we found joy in spite of it all. So I'm going to give you a tour of some of these zines, talk about why they're culturally significant by really diving deep into the personal. So these zines that I'm picking out were made by people, and they do get a little bit personal, but they talk about very interesting things. Sometimes they're super specific, sometimes they're silly, but all of it matters. And I beg you to make zines, okay? I don't want you to think that zines are only reserved for topics that are super polarizing or revolutionary. There is absolutely a place for that, and I love those kinds of zines, but I also think it's super important to share our ordinary experiences. Something as simple as going out on a date or going to the gym. Talk about your experiences doing that. I think it's important to document it all. I don't want you to feel like making a zine about your obsession with Steven Universe is not significant or has value. It does, even if it's bad, even if it's just for you. I plead for you to make zines. So here are some of the zines that I handpicked to show you guys. I want to show a wide variety of the type of publications you can make. And of course, this does not mean to copy these creators. It just means you can gain some inspiration to figure out how to implement these sorts of things into your zines. It's just supposed to be a jumping board to spark creativity within you.
Let's go.
So I'm just going to jump straight on into it and start off with this one. It's called Don't Be a Bystander, and this was created by Netta Bomani, and the information inside was originally created by Barnard College of Research on Women and Project NIA, and you can find information about that in the link down below in the description. I just wanted to show you guys this one because it's not only a zine, it's a functional wallet. It has pockets and everything. It was folded with an origami method of making it into this fold for holding cards. You can hold cash. It has pockets right here. You can pretty much put anything you want into this, which I think is incredible for this sort of content, right? So this zine has 6 tips for responding to racist attacks. Hence, don't be a bystander. And like I said, this information was provided by the Barnard College of Research, but Netta Bomani decided to put this in a zine wallet format, which I think is absolutely incredible because it holds that implication that this would be on your person at all times. And it's functional. You know, you could use this in practical everyday life. You could put, oh, look at the print inside. Oh, I accidentally unfolded it or unbound it. But look at how it's put together in such a simple but intricate way, right? This is definitely something you can learn how to do. I have my own version of the zine wallet that I made back in 2021, and I have a tutorial on how I fold my zines like this. This one is a bit different. This is Netta's, way of doing it, and they have these pockets on the inside like this. I think it's incredible that you're able to use zines in this way, using one sheet of paper and sharing information as pertinent as this. This is an abolitionist approach to responding to racist attacks without police intervention. Sometimes people experience things like this and their first thought is to call 911. Everybody's different, but I'm of the opinion that it's very rare I need to call the police. There's other ways that I can intervene or help out my community without involving the police, and that's exactly what this states. 1, for example, is be more than a bystander. 2 is document the incident. 3 is support the victim by sticking around. And then at the end here, it kind of cuts off, but that's the magic of zines, is that sometimes it's a little bit janky. It says avoid calling the police. I think it's important to understand that police can sometimes escalate a situation and make things more violent or tense than they need to be. I'm not saying all the time, but that's my approach. My mindset is I share the same ideology as Netta, and these are some cool tips to share with someone that maybe doesn't agree or, has never heard that point of view. I think that's why zines are incredible. You can share information like this with others and also do something like make it functional. So this is a cool way of sharing your information. You can really think outside the box. It does not have to be in the traditional zine format of a single sheet of paper folded into 8 pages. It can be something like this, where you're taking origami methods and implementing it into zines. The next zine I want to show you is by Mark B. Chill. I bought this one. This is from the United Kingdom, so I ordered this. It came really quickly too. This one is called People Enjoying Themselves in Adverts. In the front cover it says, people enjoying themselves in adverts, So the asterisks are people mostly enjoying themselves, also mostly in adverts, and on food packaging, signage, and other things. It's literally all of people enjoying themselves in advertisements. And to the naked eye, to the untrained zine eye, the question would be, why make something like this? But a zine maker would know, new and veteran would know, why not? I think it's really incredible because we're seeing real people. These are real people. Well, that's not a person. But it's really cool just to be able to experience the world like this as an observer and just experiencing things as simple as an advertisement. Wow, is that enjoyment? I mean, hey, it could be. I think this is definitely a sort of commentary on commercialism, how we're sold things, how we're led to believe things by facial expressions. I mean, because if you see something like this, you're gonna think, I need to be going shopping. Let's see something else. I need to be a puppy. No, I'm just kidding. But something like this would bring you joy. Even the horses. Why is there what? But you see, stuff like this is meant to influence in some way. And I think this zine is definitely sparking a conversation on that. Or it could just simply be, look at these people doing their jobs. I think it's really important to be an observer of life in this way. You don't have to make your zine be about something super profound or super deep. My perception of this could be totally different than your perception. Maybe you don't see this as something to be admired. It's all up for interpretation, but I think it's all valid. Look at how thick that one is. It's super thick. But yeah, you can make something like this where you're simply observing life around you and documenting it. This next zine that I'm sharing with you is called SPEW number 4. So there are a lot of SPEW zines. I think there's up to 4 so far. This zine is by Avery and Karina, and they took submissions for this. So they have a bunch of contributors. So that's another great reason to make zines, is that if you wanted to, you can collaborate with others and have a bunch of people add pieces, art, interviews, or photography, and pretty much anything they want to contribute into the zine. And that's a great way to have a zine with a lot of perspective, and it's not just coming from one point of view. So when you flip through it, there are passages from all kinds of people. This is something important. I'm going to return to this in a second. But they have a bunch of different things. Look at edited and published by Karina and Avery, and then here are all their contributors. And when you flip through, you can see different art that was submitted and different articles, think pieces, different sketches, even a letter. Someone wrote a letter. There's so many cool things in here. And another accessibility point is that it's all printed in black and white, and they use just the cardstock cover for a pop of color. I love doing that because not only does it serve a purpose of saving you money, this is a lot cheaper than if you were to print this all in color. So if that's something you wanted to do, be cost efficient and make sure that the cost of the zine is low, that's absolutely something you could do. But I wanted to show you a section in here that I think is super important. So in here, it shows you how you can organize your pages to make a folio type zine, which is the zine that I'm holding. I get a lot of questions about that. It's where people ask me, how do I make a zine of this size? And luckily for you, there are a lot of resources online. But luckily for you, if you wanted to purchase a zine that had this type of information in it, or, you know, sometimes people trade, it's not always a purchase, okay? I don't want you to think that in order to make your zines, you explicitly have to sell them. They could be up for trades, or they could be given away for free. But if you wanted to learn how to make a zine from a zine maker, you could definitely pick up something like this. So it shows you how to organize your pages. They also give tips on how to make a zine on Google Docs, which this is very, very important. I actually learned how to make a zine this way because I was typically just making it all by hand. I never knew how to make one on Google Docs, and I think that's really cool if you want to collaborate, because then people can go inside the Google Doc and upload their files, and it's all organized in one document. So that's really cool. And then here it talks about how you can make your zines cheaply, and it talks about something called the bid order. So if you go to FedEx office and you want to print, say, 1,000 of these, a way that you could save a lot of money is by putting in a bid order. So there is limits to this. You do have to make a certain amount of zines, but here Avery talks about how I think that their order was large enough that they could request the bid order, and then your printing job, so basically all the zine copies you want made, they get sent off to the warehouse where they print your big order for far cheaper than they would if they did it in-house. So you absolutely could do it in-house. It's going to cost you a lot, but a lot of people don't know about the bid order. So that's why Avery put this information in here, and you can see here They saved a lot of money. They ended up paying only $1.66 per zine. And look at this thing. For this zine, they printed a bunch of these. They printed 300 copies. And to be fair, they did print a bunch of other zines as well. So that could be the price of them adding all the zines together. So they did 300 of SPEW number 4, but I think they also printed SPEW 3, SPEW 2, SPEW 1, you know what I mean? And I think stuff like that is really cool to put in a zine because this can be shared. Just like the other zines I showed you, they can absolutely be shared, but the information in here is just so cool to spread word of mouth in that way. Or I guess hand in hand. You can spread something so easily like this. And yes, the internet's cool, but like I said, that shit may disappear. And stuff like this will be around for a very long time. It's printed. It's telling future generations how we do shit. This is how we do it. If something's going on and you want to share it, you want to spread information, you want to just contribute to society in your own way, leave your mark, you could do it like this. And yes, I paid money for this, right? They had a zine release party where they were selling copies of this, and I bought a copy. I bought the one copy, so if I want to trade this with someone or we share, you know, say that I give this to a friend in exchange for a different zine, we both read our zines and they give the zine back. That's the power of print. It doesn't have to be a one-time purchase or a one-time exchange. It can continuously create discussions just by having it in your hand and passing it into someone else's. This next one is a personal favorite of mine. I love sharing this with people that come to me for advice about how did you know you wanted to turn your art into your career? How did you know you wanted to be a freelance full-time artist? How did you know you wanted to monetize off of your skills in this way? Of course, I give them my own personal advice, but I also like sharing this zine with them. This is a zine guide by Carolyn Yo, and it's how to keep your hobby from becoming a job. I really love this sort of take in zines because it's an easy way to share information with other people, so you can refer back to this all the time. Say you had a conversation with a friend and they're telling you their point of view as an artist, or maybe someone that doesn't even do art for their job, and they keep their hobbies and their job. It's hard to remember everything that people say, you know? I try to recall back on conversations I had in college or even with my friends or my family, and I can't remember everything. That's why I think it's really important to document conversations like this to be able to share with others, because it's a way that you can refer back to these things, right? So in the middle here, it says tips for keeping your hobby a hobby, not a job. This really resonated with me because tip number 1 says make one of each thing. No need to mass produce if it isn't bringing you joy. If you need to clear your space, gift your beautiful creations to family and friends. And that's something that I do all the time. I'll make something and people will ask in the comments, how can I buy this? Or I really want that thing. And I just won't sell it. And not because I'm not capable of making copies or anything like that, but just because if I had to make a bunch of copies, it wouldn't be fun anymore. So there's sometimes where I'll make a zine and I'll show you how I made it, but not make it available in my shop. And it'll be something fun for me. Maybe I make a few copies. I tend to do that, but it doesn't need to be something that is monetized in that way by being a physical zine or being a physical thing. It could be anything. Look at all these hobbies that are in the back. It doesn't only have to be your publishing, but I think this is an incredible zine to be able to share with people. So number 2, determine a set time and place to practice your hobby. You don't have to bring your hobby to vacation. That's also so important. For example, me being a content creator, a lot of people close to me know that this is something that I do as part of my job. And it's very thoughtful when they say,
hey, you should bring your camera to our date, or hey, you should bring your camera on our vacation, or maybe you want to bring your camera to our little family gathering or family reunion.
Some things could be just for me. Because while I do enjoy making videos, I don't share every detail of my life with the internet. So that's something that I really resonate with as a full-time artist, is that I don't have to take my hobby everywhere. While I do monetize some of my hobbies, it doesn't have to be a full-time thing. I don't have to film and upload every single facet of my life with you guys. So I think this is very important to keep in mind, whether you're a YouTuber, whether you crochet, whether you make zines like we're talking about today, you don't have to bring it everywhere you go. You can separate it and have it be something that you only do in this part of the house. Like say you have like your bedroom and you only make zines in your bedroom. You don't take it when you go eat, or you don't take it to your friend's house, you know? You can set those boundaries with yourself so you know that you don't have to burn yourself out. See, look, If your hobby is causing you pain, stop. Literally stop. Put the hand down. So this is another incredible zine that I think is important to share with people, just for the sake of helping others figure out their lane, if they should keep their hobby or make it a job. Okay, the last one I want to show you is one that I made, and this one's called I Don't Care, and it is in this little baggie because it plays on the blind box phenomenon. I ended up accumulating a lot of blind boxes last year because I got really into them. So what I did was, with the leftover blind boxes that I had, I ended up cutting them up and using them as collage material for my zine. So I put it in this bag because I want readers to experience what it's like to open a blind box for themselves, or I guess in this case a blind bag. So when you open it up, there is a zine inside, and when you pull the zine out, this is how it looks. And this is me reusing blind box trash, and I collaged with it, and it says, I don't care. If you don't like me, you don't even like yourself. And I even used the receipt that I got from Pop Mart, which is the store that I buy my blind boxes from. I used it on the back. They stamp it, so I guess there's a lot of theft that goes on because a lot of resellers go into Pop Mart and buy a bunch so they can resell it on eBay and stuff like that. So they check your receipt at the door, and it says all sales final, no refunds, and you have to show someone at the door before you leave. They have to check your bag, basically. So I wanted people that read this zine to get the full experience of what it's like. So on the side of a blind box, it'll show you the possibilities of what you could get. It's blind. You don't know what figure you're going to get, but on the side of the box, they'll have up to 12 different possibilities, and this is what they look like. So I cut them out and I scanned them so I can make this little kind of this yarn just to kind of play on that, how there's different possibilities of what you could get. But then when you open it, it shows pretty much every character in this series. So this is called Peach Riot, and I really like the Peach Riot blind boxes. So this shows all of the characters. This is Gigi, this is Poppy, and this is Frankie. They all have their own page, and all of it is just used up trash. So if you look really closely, you could even see this sticker is kind of bent in the scan. That's grid paper that I used as the background. All of this is trash from different boxes. Even this, it's from a different series. I just utilized every single thing I could. I wanted to fill this to the brim with color. I wanted it to pop, and I wanted it to feel interactive and fun. I know you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with everything you said about documenting yourself? I think even zines like this are important because they're fun. Literally, just because they're fun. Having something like this that someone in the future can look back on will show how I lived my life despite everything else that's going on that could be really scary or maybe even unjust. I can make zines about those things, and on the other hand, make zines like this. So you see the full scope of what it means to be a person, you know? Even though things that are going on around me can be terrifying, at the same time, I am a person capable of having fun as well. I think there's a lot of guilt involved when things happen in the world that is unfair, and there's this tendency for artists to think, how can I have the audacity to make something silly? How can I even dare create something fun when all of this chaos is happening around me? But I think it's really important to make your art. Art in itself, the act of creating is resistance. And yes, this is not touching on anything that is particularly important. If anything, this might be even silly to do, but I think it's important to indulge in that. No, the zine does not have to be about the thing that's frustrating you or causing you pain. You can redirect that and transmute it to create something completely new. And that's why I thought it was important to share this one, just because of simply that, it's fun. Sometimes the zine can exist for the sake of itself. It doesn't have to be anything super revolutionary or groundbreaking in order for it to be worthy of making. I liked making it, I had fun doing it, and I think that's enough reason to share it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed that zine tour and some of the things that I had to say about them. And I said this before in the beginning, but I know a lot of the zines don't seem to be that political. Some of them are silly. Some of them seem to make no sense, which I think is really freaking rad. I think it's cool to make a zine about people seeming to enjoy themselves in advertisements. Just as much as I think it's cool to make a zine all out of trash, but then you can also include information about how to advocate for others. And you could also share resources about how to make your own zine. There's not one that's more significant more than others. I think that they all matter and they all make a difference. So I really hope that encourages you to make your zines. You know, they don't have to be something that's never been said before, because I quite frankly think that's impossible. There's this quote by James Baldwin that I love.
You go through your life for a long time, you think that no one has ever suffered the way I've suffered. You know, my God, my God. And then you realize, you read something, you hear something, and you realize that your suffering does not isolate you. That your suffering is your bridge. Mm-hmm. That many people have suffered before you. Many people are suffering around you. And always will. And all you can do is bring, hopefully, a little light into that suffering. Enough light so the person who is suffering can begin to comprehend his suffering and begin to live with it and begin to change it, to change the situation. Mm-hmm. We don't change anything. All we can do is invest people with the morale to change it for themselves.
And that is the same way that I feel about zines in general. I think they're super important to publish, because how cool is that you have the power to share your voice far and wide right now. This medium is so flexible that you don't even need paper to do it. Use your computer if you have one. Use your iPad. I will link down below this really awesome zine maker that you can use on your phone. Also, go to your local library, whatever's accessible to you. Okay, that's what it's all about. Spread your ideas, share what you have to say, share information, share resources. This is what we need to do. I'm begging you to make zines. That's it for now. I hope you guys are off to make your zines. And until next time, bye.